watching Ismail Kone play in the World Cup in Qatar. Watching, one of my first pro players go pro, playing in the World Cup. Yeah, you dream it. You would think it. 2 years later, that happens with another player, Bombito, right? I know soccer and only soccer my whole life. Playing against Insigne, Bernardeschi, for us, those are things you have to talk about. I actually broke down after that game, like I before and after, because I couldn't believe what we accomplished, and I didn't know that was possible. I really didn't know that was possible. Yeah. And because of that game, now my dreams are bigger. I treat our club like a family, and you're working towards something all together at all times. If they're all aligned together, success happens. This is what it takes to become a pro.
Rocco Placentino, this gentleman, if you know football in the city, you know who this guy is, and if you don't know football in the city, well, you'll get to know who he is. He is born and raised in Montreal, and Placentino spent most of his early career in the Italian leagues, representing Avellino, Teramo, Case, Gueldo, and Masse and Gubibo, which, by the way, he better help correct me on that last one, because Gubibo, whatever it is, I am 100% not saying it correctly, and Rocco will not accept that. So I know when he comes and sits down with me, we will get a proper schooling on how I should have said that. This gentleman is part of creating player pathways over the years through the NCAA and prep schools, and we've had somebody on here before talking about sort of the complicated nature for athletes in the NCAA and how to get into the pros. And there's no better person to talk about this than Rocco and all the things that he does in the community. And another awesome stat, I guess, if you want to call it a stat, is Bombito, who plays for Team Canada, and Kone, who we know, who used to play here in Montreal, at Marseille and at Nice in Ligue 1. That's massive. Their pedigree, their learning, and everything they do in football, its beginnings were here with the boys at and girls at Saint Laurent, and Rocco is part of that whole history. So this is extremely exciting for us, especially on the first half, because community, grassroots, and all these different levels of the beautiful game are so absolutely important to everything. And he's joining us in studio in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody. This is TSN 690, Paul Debaye, and this is the first half. And my Italian teacher, language teacher, is sitting right in front of me. Rocco, welcome to the show. That's a really good smile, because you are so ready to gubio my ass. Excuse my language. So, sir, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm very well. Thank you for joining us. This
pleasure.
is honestly, it's a real pleasure, but an honor. And I feel actually it's been quite some time that we've tried to get this face to face on the show.
Yeah,
we've had a call in. I think more than once, but one of the most important sort of moments in the club's in the club's history against TFC. But to have you in here, and also for me to have done a little more research now, because I knew you were going to be in as a guest. My God, man, amazing! And it's just at the beginning too, this story. So, yeah. For those that don't know, first of all, before we get all good to know you, man. Correct my absolutely astonishingly bad Italian pronunciations of the clubs. So Gubbio.
Yeah, there's no D in Gubbio. It's Gubbio.
I didn't say Gubbio.
I said Gubbio. You said Gubbio.
Yeah, okay, whatever. So that's the first one. Whichever. What else you got?
Then there's Massese, there's Cavese, there's Gualdo, there's
Gualdo. I never had a chance.
You don't get more
Gualdo.
Italian than that. Honestly,
Gualdo.
You don't.
Gualdo.
Yeah.
Did I say
Umbria.
Right?
Yeah. In Truffelland.
Truffelland. Gumbria.
Yeah.
Gubria.
No. There's
Gubria.
In Umbria, it's Gubbio is in Umbria.
Umbria.
Yeah.
Umbria.
It's a region. Yeah.
Okay. In Gumbria, it's Umbria.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Now I'm getting confused.
Yeah, you see, that's what we do best. Rocco, we love you.
Love you too.
Now, let's get a little bit of a story, please. So for those that don't know you as Mr. Football, because you really are in this city, well, obviously there's other places around the world too. I mean, you really are quite a bit. When people sort of do a little bit of research, you've done a lot of stuff in Italy, and you're all over the place, and you're well connected, and you care absolutely about every level of football. I've never seen anything like it. But just for those that don't know, please, a little bit of backstory on how you got into football, not just because of the heritage, but You are a Montrealer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So where does the football story begin? The genesis story begin.
Well, it begins with my brother and my dad. My brother he's 4 years older than me, and basically he started football at a very young age, and then I was always in the backyard with him, and went to all his games when I was like a very young boy, and I fell in love with the sport. I know soccer and only soccer my whole life, and I'm grateful that I had a brother that loved the sport, and he was actually a very good player also, and a dad and a mom that carried away for us, bringing us out to all our games, our practices, and at the end of the day, I made a career out of it, and I'm still in it. So I'm grateful for my childhood, thanks to my parents, my brother, and my sister that was tagged along everywhere.
That's amazing. Were your parents? Where did their attention? Was it just we're going to support our kids, no matter what they're up to, or was there already from the get-go a football connection where dad and mom were like, take a look at this. Here's the football. Here's the team you need to support. Was there that kind of element?
Well, my mom was basically the manager of the house. Like, she was preparing the food, preparing the bags, making sure everything's ready for soccer. She's the boss.
Yeah.
And my dad, he born in Italy, raised in Italy, played some soccer back in the day.
At home,
let's say the city team, just like that, for fun, amateur soccer. And he's an Inter fan, and for me, that's where soccer started for me. Like, I became an Inter fan because of him. When I was a very young age, I used to have all the old Snake jerseys and all that stuff. Cool. And we played soccer everywhere, in the backyard, downstairs, kicking the pillows. Like, soccer was our life for our whole life, literally.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, even till today, man.
Do you ever think about that? Do you ever think about how the seed was there from the get-go, and there was just no other way it was going to be anything else?
The only thing I think about when it comes down to my childhood is soccer. And everything
and
related
the connection.
It's that's how I made all my best friends. That's how I grew as a person, literally through this sport. It's hard to explain because you have to live it to understand it, but it was a crazy journey. It really was.
And that's maybe why you give back so much to the sport as well, because it's been part of your life since the beginning, right?
I grew up in the East End, right? I grew up in RDP, and it was when we grew up back in the day, there were a lot of Italians in the neighborhood, and we basically, that's what it was. Always in parks, always with helping one another, and I just I grew with that in my culture for sure.
I wanted to ask you, what did you miss most right now when you used to play professionally? What do you miss right now about that element? Is there anything, or
the
is
smell
it that
of the grass? The smell of the grass walking into a stadium.
You answered that. I saw you were ready to answer that before I finished the question. That's like automatic?
Automatic, yeah. It's goosebumps every time. Even like today, if I go to a CF Montreal game, and sometimes I do work for MLS, and I'm under a tunnel. When you walk onto the pitch and you smell that game grass, it's like
that's so cool.
Forget about everything else. You forget about everything.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
that's it. That would be it. That's amazing.
That's it, man.
For those that don't know, so the Semi-Pro League that made its debut in 2012 in Quebec, I was sort of doing a little bit of research on this, and can you define the semi-pro concept here in Quebec and in Canada? For those that don't know, I mean, semi-pro, I mean, the basis of it, okay, you're not pro yet.
Yeah.
But, I mean, when you look at what you guys are, I mean, it's that one step, and the difference to what's happening right now with MLS Next. Is that, are they at par? How is it going in Quebec right now as a whole with the semi-pro, the league, and the support that's being done with the national level?
Yeah, so the semi-pro league is hard to compare to MLS Next Pro or MLS Next because the costs are way too much for MLS Next. But the semi-pro, I think, is a good stepping stone for young players that want to pursue their dreams in soccer, whether it's getting a scholarship or going pro. And it's like a trampoline. It's a mini trampoline, right? Because it is very hard. But we do have a ton of talent here in Quebec, both on the boys and the girls side. And we took almost 10 years, 10 years to have a team, because I got there in 2012. And the semi-pro league, there's a lot of good players and a lot of good coaches. We just talk about players, but also coaches that want to have a coaching career. Do every semi-pro team treat it like a semi-pro? No. Why? Because it does cost money. If you're running a semi-pro team properly, you're spending over $100K easily for a team. Players make money off bonuses. Players have minimal salaries. Coaches make pretty good salaries. So
And this is all based on sponsorship?
yeah, we're like honestly, we were very grateful. When I took this challenge on having a semi-pro team, the Moises of the world, like Moise Bombito, like he was like 16, 17 years old, and at the time saying, "How come we don't have a semi-pro? How come we don't have a semi-pro yet?" And we weren't ready financially, because one thing I always promised was we would never do a semi-pro taking the money from the little kids that register. I would never do that, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but that's not what I want to do.
In your model.
So for me, it was to find partners, and we were grateful to have two partners that were with the club, which was Sammy Fruits and Crevier, that became partners, and we put equal amount of money to filter a team in. First year we finished second, and second year we won the championship, right? But it's not about who you're putting on the field. It's the preparation. It's the finding the fields, finding the good staff, paying the good staff. Our first team has like 6-7 staff members. Like, we treat like the pros, So, and we try and give that experience to a player to one day understand this is what it takes to become a pro. You know, so we maximize
and
the best we can.
This is the ecosystem. There's that many people in the locker room, that many people to take a conversation with, that
team
many people
manager,
that are
name it. There's a GM, there's a sport that we treat like a pro club, and I guess that's why we're successful, and nothing. You could have the best players in the world, doesn't mean you're successful. You have to make sure the whole thing works, and so once you put this together, it it took off, and we're in our fourth year, and we're very, very happy with all the work that all my coaches are doing, the staff, the club, also the support from the city, and again, our partners. If it wasn't for our main partners, we don't have a semi-pro team today. And we don't play against Toronto FC last year.
Yeah, which is its own sort of Cinderella story, I guess. And is that something that still is brought up? I mean, I know I brought it up here, but that's because you're the guest. But is that still something that's on the lips of everybody when you speak to them? When you're maybe not in Montreal, but maybe when you're traveling through Canada or the U.S. or in Europe, is it still something that?
Well, you know what? It's a good question. I did an MLS game last week. I was working 2 weeks ago, Columbus, Montreal, and the fourth official, guy from Toronto. We introduced each other, and he's like, "Oh, you're the sporting director of Saint Laurent. You're the ones you guys played TFC last year, and you beat Halifax." So yeah, you know what? It did a splash for sure. Like, it's an amateur club with a budget of 100 and some odd K, beating a CPL team that's a budget of $4 or $5 million. So we understand it's a one gamer and it could happen, but like, it happened. So it was the first time in Quebec history where an amateur team beat a pro club, and then playing against the giants of TFC. Well, it's you're playing against Insigne, Bernardeschi. For us, those are things you have to talk about. Like when you walk into our office, our back wall is that game there. We have images of the fans, the ultras, the players, because that's gonna be forever.
And it's important too, because win or lose, it's part of now the fabric and DNA of the club.
Yeah.
And the next generation and the generation after that and so forth. And that's actually how you build that history and how you build that longevity connection to something specific that touched everybody, including the entire country, right?
Yeah, it's, Paul, we talk about Saint Laurent, but it was an eye-opener for a lot of people in our province, because I say it every single day. There's not one day I don't say there's too much talent here. And it goes unnoticed because they're limited with the opportunities that they got, right? So are we trying to change that? Are we trying to make it better? Yeah, for sure we're trying. We're working hard with different projects, and hopefully one day to come to life.
What are the limits? So when you say that, is it that the province, and again, I'm not looking for nothing negative here. I'm just asking, so the limit for a pro player here, male or female, is there's just not enough competition? There's not enough teams to be playing? There's not enough eyeballs in media? Like, what are when you say there are limits, is it just because we're in the province of Quebec? Is it a Canada thing?
Well, my question to you is, how many pro teams do we have in Quebec?
I don't know. I would think 20.
No, pro teams.
Oh, zero.
One.
Well,
Montreal.
Yeah, MLS, fine,
yeah.
Sure.
So the limit becomes where the CF Montreal, on the academy side, they can't filter all the best players because they're limited on how many they could take, right? So there's some that fall through the cracks, whether it's right or wrong. That's to discuss.
Even with the age bracket, it doesn't matter. The academies can only handle so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So having one is not enough for sure. You need at least 2-3 teams that are competing at a decent level for these players to have a chance to showcase themselves at a, because you have to understand right now the eyes are North America for soccer, and a lot of European clubs are looking at kids that are playing CPL, MLS, and for
University too, right?
university. So they get into the MLS Combine. There's so many different things that could happen, right? So we need to be better in our province to give opportunity to kids to have an opportunity, and it's
So that sort of falls on the federal level.
on the federal
Again,
level.
this isn't a pointing a finger. I'm just
No,
curious, what is it that is needed?
There's a lot of work to be done on the federal level, on the provincial levels, and at the end of the day, because we can't forget the football, the kids just want to have fun too, right? They want it's amateur sports,
Yeah,
it's recreational, it's keeping them busy, keeping them physically active, keeping them out of trouble. So that can never go away. But we do have an enormous amount of talent it's going unnoticed. It really is.
I want to jump back to you as a player. One of the fun things I like to do, especially when I'm speaking with current or ex sports humans, is can you tell me one of the best moments in your footballing career that jumps to your mind? Just because I love the insight, because usually it comes pretty quick to you guys when we ask this question.
I have two.
Beautiful. What are they?
I scored the first goal in the Saputo Stadium in 2008. So, when you're scoring the first goal ever at the new stadium in your home.
Everybody's freaking out.
Well, yeah, it's crazy.
It's great.
And winning the championship in Montreal with my local home team, the USL Championship. So those are two things I'll never, ever, ever forget, for sure.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The worst.
Oh, worst, I missed. My brother flew to Italy. I was in Serie C in Italy, and I was in the final. It was a home and away final, and the first game was at home, and my brother came and watched. And in the second half, in the 56th minute, I got a penalty shot. I took the penalty shot, and I missed. And then we finished 0-0. We went on the road. We lost 1-0. And we didn't qualify the promotion. So,
and that's, you put that solely on yourself.
I haven't taken a penalty shot since
Really?
2004. I swear to God.
That was it.
Yeah, that's it.
Now is that
Mental
a
block.
is that it? Is it a superstitious thing?
You know what? There's 22 players that could take a shot. Like I don't have to. It scarred me for life, honestly. Like, and I say it openly. Everybody knows. Like, I'll play for fun, and I won't take a PK anymore.
No matter what.
I'll take a million free kicks.
Okay.
Not a problem.
So here's a question: You're in everything that you guys are doing with Saint Laurent. There's no chance you're allowing a player, he or she, to think like that after they've missed it.
Never. No.
And is that also a difference in the way coaching and mental strength and health is being utilized in the development of players today versus 25, 30 years ago, where everybody was like, okay, just let him, don't worry about it. You don't have to ever do it again.
Yeah.
Move on.
No matter if you're missing a penalty shot, whether you're playing in front of 15,000 people or in front of parents, you're missing a penalty shot, right? But for me, that was a big moment. Like, it wasn't a penalty shot in a regular game. It was in a final. So
right.
I try not even to explain it to kids, to be honest.
Just let it be.
So, no, I let it be, and I encourage them to take penalty shots and it's okay to miss, and you'll get the next one. Like, I'm very encouraging on these things, that's for sure, yeah.
Now, you travel, you do watch a lot of football.
Yeah.
Recreationally as well, you enjoy it. Is there a football match that you've been to in Europe that stands out to you as an experience that, again, pops to the top of the head that you can't or will never forget?
I have two of them.
I love this.
98 World Cup. I was at a tournament in France during the World Cup, and I watched quarterfinal Italy-France. We lost in PKs.
Wow.
And my second one is same tournament. We were watching the final Brazil-France, and we were in our hotel. And when France won the World Cup, we said, we were 5 players. We were like 15, 16 years old. We said, let's go to the stadium. Let's see the celebration. And believe it or not, we ended up being on the field. Don't know how it happened.
You know how. You're just not putting it on
the field.
On radio.
We're on. I can't say certain
Exactly.
things. But on the field, in the locker rooms, under the tunnel, where the players came out with the bus, with the cup, right in front of my eyes, touching the cup. I was 15 years old. Yeah, so we're me and 4 other players from.
Is
from
any
the
of
show.
this caught on film?
We have pictures. We have pictures on the locker rooms and the bench. I'll show you them.
You have, yeah. We'll take that for the show after.
So those are 2 crazy moments where I.
Wow.
Yeah, and then of course watching Ismail Kone play in the World Cup in Qatar. That's it's watching, one of my first pro players go pro, playing the World Cup. Yeah.
Is that
Crazy.
is that extremely personal for you guys in the team when that happens? Is the idea of the semi-pros going pro, is it just so hard to obtain that when it does click and flip like that, that it's like a parent and I don't want to be like odd like that, but you guys have grown up together, you've developed together, you've worked on all kinds of strengths together, and then all of a sudden there they are, right? I mean, that's the point of
Paul,
your club.
I'll break it down for you, okay? You join a club, and a club is consisted of members. These members have to be dressed, and it starts by there. That's how it starts. So you get your supplier. We're very grateful with ours. We have Fana Sports. They've been with us since I've been there, and it starts with them giving you stuff, making sure you look good. Because a kid wants to go on the field, a kid that maybe can't even afford it goes on the field and looks good and feels good. So that was my start of Saint Laurent. Then it was, okay, let's gain membership. And we did that. Let's get more teams. And you mentioned all that, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, what's the next objective? So then for us, it's like, okay, we're good enough now to try and place players in scholarships, right? Whether it's in the US and Canada. But it was very hard for me to imagine one of our players actually playing in a World Cup. Like, you dream it, you would think it, but for it to actually happen. But then the thing is that once it actually happens, you say, well, now it's possible for not only our club, but any club to have this stuff happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 years later, that happens with another player, Bombito, right? So it's like, so now the sky's the limit for us. Like, I was like, no, we got to keep on believing in this
trajectory or mission.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, like now.
Does the club put out not a manifesto, but you have a pathway built that is sort of like all the coach. I mean, you guys there must be a plan, right? So is there a plan that when you're looking at it, you're like this is what we think it might be. Now, reality or not, I mean, it's how do you do it again?
So that's a fantastic question. We're not a perfect amateur club. We're amateur, but we try and be as best as we can be. And the reason why our club, and there's other clubs out there that work properly also, but the reason why we have a lot of success is because everybody that's in our club in terms of staff are hard workers. You're doing hundreds of hours a month. It's like eat, sleep, soccer, day in, day out. And one thing about our club, I can name you so many coaches that have been with me since day one. So I believe in family. I'm a big family guy. I treat our club like a family. When you have the same supplier for 12 years, the same main coaches for 12 years, because it's 12 years I'm there, it tells you something.
Yeah.
That means you're all on the same page and you're working towards something all together at all times. And there's no monkey business. It's work. When we have to tell each other off, we tell each other off. It's like a family. It's the exact same thing. So
but you're in a position where if your family, the difference is your family member can be let go. You can't let go of a family member.
No.
So is that ever come to play where you're like, oh man, this is just not going to go well? There has to be that next level. I mean, you are running a business, man. Like
it's happened, and you have to understand it's a club of over 2,000 members. But letting people go, very minimal. And if it did happen, there was reasons. Because our model, Paul, is very simple. You got to work. You're a soldier. If you're not working, you're not made for this club. You're not. Yeah. Like if I call you at 7 in the morning, I expect you to write back to me right away or answer my phone call, because I'm the same way. So if I'm working the hardest, everybody has to work just as much as me. And that's why I believe we have a lot of success. And it's from the most stupidest things, eh? If I'm missing a jersey, I call my supplier, Fana, hey, I need the jersey tomorrow. It's ready yesterday. Yeah. So these are all things that if they're all aligned together, success happens. And that's what I learned this, eh? That's not like I knew this was going to happen. I built on this. And
well, you built it.
Built it, yeah.
You didn't build on it. I mean that in respect, but it's you have to teach or create that path, right? You have to create that energy that it's just, this is what the norms are going to be.
Yeah, it's, I, one of my right-hand men, I call him, I have two. I have this guy Kwame and this guy Jack. Jack has been maybe 8 years. Kwame's been since my day one. So Kwame's my African Ghanaian brother from another mother. Like,
Kwame!
literally, yeah. So like I'll lose it on him and then I'll hug him, and the same thing for like we've been through thick and thin
Yeah.
the last 12 years, and but I wouldn't do it with anybody else, you know. And then I have guys like Mateo, you know Mateo. These are soldiers, man. Honestly, man, they're like I'm blessed to have these guys by my side, or else success is not by itself, man. It's made by I believe in family, I really do, and we're not finished, man. We got to keep on going.
Well, yeah, exactly.
No,
We're
no.
not talking like that.
No.
We're just. I'm trying to give sort of context to this whole thing. This is absolutely amazing. Technical director of Saint Laurent Soccer, Rocco, is joining us in studio now. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we got a couple more questions for you, and then we're going to jump into 12 questions. We get to know a little bit about you. Is that
problem.
good?
That's
Amazing.
great.
We'll be back after this. We are brought to you by Quincaillerie Notre Dame, serving the community for over 135 years in the Sud-Ouest. Welcome to the first half on TSN 690. We are switching things up on our music because you got to let Eric B. cook, is what I've just been told. You got to let him warm up into the song. I respect that. Luca, I love you. But I get thrown off because I don't like change. For those that know me know exactly what I'm talking about. Rocco, thank you for joining us in studio. Already awesome insight on the world of football, semi-pro, your life as a pro footballer, that World Cup stuff. I mean, I'm going to be thinking about that for a long time, honestly. Right? Like it's madness. Bless you. So now I want to ask you, because this would be insane if I didn't. 2026, like few months away, right? Let's be clear here. Few months away. World Cup is on our shores. It's in Toronto, yes, I get it. But you and I both know that doesn't make a difference. Toronto, Montreal will be insane. Vancouver, all over the country, all over North America, Mexico, USA. How excited are you for that? And it must have a completely different tone for you as the world you're in. Not forget the gentlemen that are already playing. But what does that mean for you, just as, you know, for the love of the game, a technical director, somebody who is completely living and breathing football 24 hours a day?
So I'm definitely going to go watch games. That's for sure, 100%. Right. I'm not going I told my wife already, we're not going on vacation next summer. It's soccer all summer.
Yeah, but you don't go on vacation this summer. You're a football guy.
No. This year I'm going to Italy. No, we have 2 weeks off. Construction holidays, everything's closed. I go to Italy. I go to my homeland. I go have good coffee. Good
even
pizza.
if the team's playing, it doesn't matter.
No, there's 2 weeks where they're off, and there's a couple of games. Maybe the semi-pro have a game or two, my camp's going on. But I'm learning that, you know what, you live once, and I want my kids to understand where I played in Italy. So I showed them around the different stadiums last year. I'm gonna do the same thing this year, and so World Cup 2026 is gonna be a game changer for soccer, as we call it here, or football, for a long time. I think that it's gonna give a boost for kids to play the sport, even though right now there's so many kids that do play, and it's gonna give hopefully an eye opener to, you know, people that maybe want to invest in having other pro teams in our country, right? Talk about Quebec, talk about anywhere in Canada, because that's what World Cups do. They have a synergy where it says this is the best sport in the world, because it is.
You're not biased, right?
But come on, World Cup is World Cup, and for me it's a game changer, big time. Yeah, on all aspects. And then the year after, Girls World Cup, so it's like, wow.
Yeah, but where's the Women's World Cup?
I don't know where it is. No,
but
it's not here. But still
it's
World
in 27.
Cup. Yeah,
right. And the Euros, Women's Euro is this year. I think, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Can't
wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing, right?
Yeah.
Has anything peaked for you guys potentially on the female side of Saint Laurent within that for the national side as well?
Yeah, well, you know, the national team on the girls' side, I think they're fantastic. They've done amazing in the last decade. So yeah, for sure, because of them winning the Olympics and doing well World Cups and having, you know, St. Clair's, and now having a pro league with the Roses in our backyard, like, yeah, there's more and more girls playing soccer, and rightfully so, because there's a lot of good girl soccer players here.
Yeah, and you guys are doing a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, we have our first ever semi-pro
right.
team in League Two, and we're
Awesome.
we've been wanting it since day one, like the boys, but we weren't granted it, and now we finally have it. So it's like
Congrats.
big work in progress. It's a new project, and we have amazing players.
Amazing.
We have an amazing coaching staff, and hopefully we get the results. Yeah.
Community is an important piece of your success, the club's success. What does that mean to you, for you guys specifically at the soccer club, and then in general, just having the support going sort of both ways, right? It is that kind of energy, and because you're always pushing in the same direction, right?
So I'll talk about the club first.
Yeah.
Saint Laurent is a very special place where you have a lot of wealthy people, and then you have a lot of poor people. And we do really, really well on sponsorship. We actually have this company called Goal Initiatives that's with us. But no, we have like 21 sponsors this year.
That's amazing.
And a lot of those proceeds the majority of them go to kids that can't pay.
Right.
And we have a lot of kids that can't pay. So for me, that's one way of giving back for sure. And then what we do in the summer is once a month we go to this park called Painter Park.
Okay.
And we give sessions to all kids that don't play in clubs. They come there. We give them 3 hours of soccer once a month.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You'll make sure to tell us all about that. We'll let everybody know about
so
that.
So our semi-pro players come.
We'll be
we're
there
setting
too
it
to
up
support.
as we speak. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So it's awesome, and you see every nationality, and you give them a ball, you give them a T-shirt, and it's
phenomenal. How long have you been doing that?
Yeah, we're on our 7th year.
Bravo.
Yeah.
See, there's not enough noise made about those sorts of initiatives. This is the whole point.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry, I don't want to get in. I don't want to get into that right now. That's amazing.
Yeah, and then in terms of community, provincial wide, let's say, this community, I think all amateur clubs in our province deserve to have another pro team. I've been an advocate for this for the last 5-6 years. I've been working on things, and I like to dream big. And like I said, in Saint Laurent, we achieved certain goals, and we achieved other goals, and then there was more goals, and so now I'm starting to believe that this community in general, for not just Saint Laurent, everywhere, you want to say Laval, West Island, South Shore, North Shore, we deserve more. We do. Kids, not when I say we, I talk for
yes, of course,
the kids of our clubs, right? And because I go, I coach my sons. I'm an assistant coach on my son's team U11, and there's so much talent. I'm like, what the hell is this? I have an Algerian kid. He's a lefty. He's like Messi. Like, he's so good. So I'm like, natural. This kid, like in 5 years, should be in a pro environment. And I'm talking about an 11-year-old, but I have like 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds. And like I'm saying this, I'm pretty sure other sporting directors and technical directors say this about their players in their clubs. So I really believe that this community in our province, I lived that game against TFC, and you were there?
Yeah.
Just to see.
I've never seen anything like it.
Come on, like that was a community game. It was like there was a halftime show, but it wasn't skidded. It was a bunch of African guys. They took out their tam tams.
Yeah.
Game over, and it was a 15-minute halftime show. That I even started dancing in it. So
it was the energy. I've very rarely felt that kind of. I felt that kind of energy in Europe.
Yeah. It was, and you know what I actually broke down after that game, like I before and after, because I couldn't believe what we accomplished, and I didn't know that was possible. I really didn't know that was possible. And because of that game, now my dreams are bigger.
Which is more than fair. Before we get to 12 questions, is there something or anything that you want to bring up specifically that the club is involved with that's coming up? Obviously, this thing at Painter Park, where we will be talking about it and making sure everybody knows about it. Is there something else that's coming down the line that you're very excited about to showcase? Yeah,
we have an annual tournament called the Julia Chanchi Memorial Cup. It's a former player of ours that passed away a couple years ago from a rare disease.
Mm-hmm.
And so we name
the cup after
a cup after her, and then we want to make sure her legacy lives on forever, because she was such a great kid, Julia Chanchi. And then of course we have every year we help the Jason Tulio Foundation, where we give them some names of kids that might have a scholarship because they do a foundation, and we help out. And Jason DiTullio to me was like a brother, and we carry on all our jerseys. We have his number 7 at the bottom left corner.
Beautiful.
Under Armour. We're with Under Armour, as you see the semi-pros, and they honestly they let us do whatever we want, and it's so
nice relationship.
Yeah, to have these things, and they understand, like, we get a lot of things that to us mean a lot. And when you work together on all these projects, Paul, there's how it is. You do it also, and for me, it's hard to describe because these were people that were very close to me, and for me, it's just they gotta
but you've weaved them into the fabric and the story of the club.
Yeah,
and everybody involved with the club gets to know their story directly or indirectly. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's the community. That's the club. That's it.
Yeah.
That's how it is, and then
exactly
it's with them forever.
Yeah, and for me, it's something that it makes us work even harder and make people understand what life is really about. Like, honestly, we're blessed to be in this world, and we gotta take every day as it comes, like, in a good way.
Yeah, and enjoy it. Okay, so Rocco, that's amazing, and we appreciate your time and openness to everything. We got to do 12 questions. Now, you ready for this?
I don't know.
I think you are. I think you are.
Easy questions.
Luca, you ready to hear what these 12 questions are going to be all about? Because we love it. We love it here. All right, so 12 questions with Rocco Placentino. You ready to go?
Yeah, of course.
Question 1, and there's no wrong answer, and there's no swearing. Question 1, what is your favorite film?
Rocky 4.
Number 2, what is your favorite song or band?
Sunday Bloody Sunday, U2.
Number 3, favorite sports team?
Inter Milan.
Number 4, favorite athlete, dead or alive?
R9, the real Ronaldo.
Real Ronaldo. Number 5, what is your favorite food?
All of Italian food.
All of Italian food?
Yeah.
Okay, anything Italian.
Everything.
What is your favorite drink? Alcoholic and non-alcoholic.
Alcoholic Negroni.
Okay.
And non-alcoholic water.
Beautiful. What would be one thing you would buy if you won the lottery?
A CPL team.
Amazing. I love it. That is a great answer. We're doing 12 questions with Rocco here on the first half. Number 8, dream trip.
Champions League final.
Yeah, just a champion. Yeah, of course. Well, now, dude, compared to your
Yeah,
World
but it doesn't
Cup
matter. I never did it, so yeah, it's a
of
dream.
course. Number 9. There's no wrong answer. How do you deal with stress?
I have a tattoo here.
Yeah.
Inhale, exhale. Breathe in, breathe out.
Amazing. And do you actually you go to it sometimes?
Yeah, of course.
Amazing.
That's why it's there.
Amazing. For the first half, after hours, little spicy. Pajamas or no pajamas, Rocco?
Just underwear.
Okay. It's good. Number 11. What is your favorite fashion brand at the moment?
At the moment, Under Armour.
There you go. Well done. Well positioned, sir. Number 12. Name one thing you cannot live without.
My family.
Good answer.
Yeah.
You didn't do
My wife,
earpods.
my wife and my kids, man. Like, they put up with me each and every day.
Amazing.
And
So
they know what they
that's
are.
not automatic. And number 12.1. It's a little sneaky one. I need one word to describe football. So football is
Life.
amazing. That was 12 questions on the first half here on TSN 690 iHeartRadio. Rocco, thank you so much for joining us. So very
Pleasure,
exciting. We expect to see, we're going to follow the club, and Goal is very excited to be involved with you. There's lots of stuff still to come.
Can't wait.
And to be involved, but even more so just to see how everything progresses, and also with the women's team, and just, man, you're just an all-around good human. It's a real pleasure to
Same
have you
here.
in here and to get to know you again. This is the show. It's over.
Pleasure.
My favorite part is getting to know you guys, because I never get a chance, and these half an hours we spend together means a lot. So I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure, Paul, and hopefully one day we could do it again.
And we definitely will.